By the last meeting we discussed about SAS, Windows, and we stopped at libraries. So let's think about libraries. These are nothing but logical folders which are used to maintain the collection of SAS files or SAS members, and they use it to create the connection in between the SAS and external data sources. And we can broadly categorize the libraries into two categories, like system-defined libraries, user-defined libraries. System-defined means the name itself indicates those are created by the system through the installation. We have SAS help, SAS user, and work as the examples. User-defined, we have dependent library as well as independent library. Dependent means we will create it on depending on the external data. Independent means we will create it on the SAS itself. So first let us think about system defined. Check out how many libraries do we have.
4 libraries.
All these 4 are system defined, but because we have not created them, but they were already existing in the SAS. And how they came into existence? They came into existence through the installations. If you install the SAS in a proper way, then automatically you will get all these libraries into the SAS. Okay. But in this, the most important libraries, or in another word, most frequently working libraries are nothing but SAS help, SAS user, and work. These are the most important libraries, or in another word, these are very frequently working libraries. Let's begin with work. Work is called as a temporary working library. Work is called as a temporary working library. So why we call it as a temporary working library is because if you want, we can store the files in it. If you want, we can store the files in it. But whatever we stored, all those are available only for a single SAS session. That means those are available until we close the SAS. Once we close the SAS, whatever we stored in the work library, all those will be automatically deleted. Okay. If you keep anything in the work, then it is available only for a single SAS session. I mean to say I have opened the work and I have stored something. Whatever I stored here, all that is available only for a single SAS session, but it is not available for multiple SAS sessions. Exactly opposite to the work, SAS user. Even this is also a system defined library, but we will call it as permanent library. Why we call it as a permanent library is because if you want, we can store the files in it, but whatever we stored, all those are available as long as the SAS is available in your system. And it will be removed only once you specifically delete it. Unless we delete it, it will not be removed from the system. So work is temporary, SAS user is permanent, and SAS
Permanent.
help is read-only. SAS help is read-only.
Read.
Why we call it as a read-only library is because if you want, we can work with the members of the SAS help, but we cannot modify the files of the SAS help. We cannot delete the files of the SAS help, and we cannot create any new files in the SAS help. All that we can do is we can work with it, but we cannot modify it, we cannot delete it, and we cannot create any new files in it. That's why we call it as
Read
read
only.
only. So one is temporary, one is permanent, and one is read only. But apart from them, if you create any other library, then those are all nothing but user defined. To explain user defined, I will take three examples, like a folder which has some items in it. We have a folder and it has some items in it. This is one example. And I will take Excel. We know that in Excel we used to have different sheets. And in sheet we used to have the data. This is second example. And here we have Access. It's a database which has different tables in it. Okay. So this is the third example. I will take these three as the examples to explain user-defined libraries. So what I will try to do is, in the SAS, we have new library icon. In the toolbar, we have new library icon. As we click on it, it opens a window by the name new library. It's asking the name, by what name you want to create the library. We can declare any name, but that name should not exist here. So I'm trying to create a library with the name test1. Currently, we don't have any library with the title test1. Then we have to specify the engine. These are the different data sources from which we can create the library. I want to get the data from the Excel. I want to create the data from the Excel. First of all, just check out in Excel. I have opened the Excel sample. How many sheets do we have in Excel?
3 sheets.
But do we have the data in all the 3 sheets?
No.
We have the data only in the 1 and 3. But 2 is empty or
Empty.
blank. Sorry, 1 and 3 are empty and blank, but 2 has some information, where we have Rachel, David, some information. Now, I want to get the data from the Excel. So I declared the engine as Excel, then I said
Excel.
browse. I have selected the Excel sample, which is present on the desktop, and then I said OK. Earlier we have only 4 libraries, but now we got 5th one with the name test1.
Test.
Just 1 minute. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, sorry. So
That's
in the Excel we have 3 sheets. Check out, we got how many tables?
three.
3 tables. And we know that in the Excel, in which sheet do we have the data?
Second sheet.
Check out here, sheet 2. We have the data in the okay, but as open 1 and 3, we have nothing. Okay. I'm just confirming whatever we have there in the Excel, we got all that as it is. Now I want to get the data from Access. Check out. We have different tables. What is the first table? Clinical exam, where we have patient ID, visit, pulse, BP systolic, BP diastolic, cardio, respiratory, abdomen. These are the columns. Check out new library. I want to create the library by the name test 2. This time I want to create it from the
Yes.
Access, and it was there on the desktop by the name data. Remember that Access is a database. Because of that reason, if we have any security, yeah, we should give user ID, password, etc. But as I click on OK, check out whatever we have in the Access, we got all that as it is. What is the first table? Clinical exam, and as I opened it, check out patient ID, visit, pulse, BP systolic, BP diastolic, cardio, respiratory. Whatever we have there, we got all that as it is. All this is nothing but getting external data into the SAS. Till now, we got the data from the external data, but for the first time, I want to get the data from the SAS itself. Check out, we have a folder sample here, and it has 8 items. Out of 8, we do have some SAS datasets. Check out how many are those SAS datasets.
5.
Air, class, EMP, DEPT, and fitness. These 5 are nothing but SAS datasets. Now I want to get the data from the SAS itself. Same process, I will go for new library. Name of the library is test 3. Earlier, according to the source, we have selected different engines like Excel, Access, but this time I will keep the engine as default. I'll keep the engine as default. Then I will go for browse, desktop. We know that the name of the folder is sample, so I selected it. Check out how many members do we have. All the 8. But as I click on OK and OK, do we have all the 8 into the SAS? We got only those 5, which are nothing but SAS files. In this way, we can get the data from the SAS itself. As you observe, the icon for test 1 and test 2 is different from the remaining all. We have some globe-like thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
These are nothing but dependent libraries. Why? Because we created them on depending on the external data. Check out. Test 1 was created from the Excel, and the Excel is there on the desktop. Test 2 was created from the Access, and the Access is there on the desktop. So as we created them from external, this will be called as dependent. But test3 is independent. Why? Because we created it from the SAS itself, not from the external data. And remaining all are nothing but system defined. Okay.
Okay.
So we have seen examples for what are system defined libraries like SAS help, SAS user and work. We have seen user defined. In that also we came across dependent as well as independent. Dependent means when we create it from the external data like Excel, Access, whatever it is. Independent means when we create it from the SAS. Okay. Now let us try to understand the definition. What was the definition that I have given to the libraries? I said libraries are nothing but logical
Logical.
folders. Now the question is why we call the library as a logical folder. We are not calling it as a folder simply. We are calling it as a logical folder. To explain that, I want to go with few questions. We know that test1 was created from the
Excel.
Excel and Excel is there on the desktop. Suppose if I delete Excel on the desktop, do that has any effect uh, in the test1? We know the test1 was created from the Excel. Suppose if I delete the test1 in the SAS, do that has any effect on the Excel which is there on the desktop? Got my question?
Yeah, I got it.
My question is, I created test1 from the Excel. Suppose if I delete test1 in the SAS, do that has any effect on the Excel which is there on the desktop?
No,
What do you think?
I
Do
think
it
it
has?
has some.
I selected the test1 and I deleted it.
Okay.
Check out. Here we have Excel. Still, it's existing. It doesn't has any effect. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let me go with same question in reverse. We know that test2 was created from the Access. Suppose if I delete Access on the desktop, do that has any effect on the test2?
I think it does have some effect.
Definitely. Why? Because when you create a library, it means we are creating a connection. So as long as that connection is existing, whatever may be the modifications that we will do here, it will affect that. And at the same time, if you do any modifications there, it will affect even here also, vice versa. Okay, but all this happens as long as the connection is existing. I just want to show you one example here. Check out in Access we have number of tables. We have one table by the name summary. Then definitely in SAS also we have the table by the name summary. Now I selected the summary and I deleted it. Check out, I deleted the summary. As I deleted it, check out. In the Access, do we have that summary?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we
It
have
got
summary.
deleted even here also. Why? Because if you create a library, it means you created a connection. If you create a library, it means you created a connection.
Connection.
So as long as that connection is existing, whatever may be the modifications that you will do in the external data source, it will affect here. And at the same time, whatever may be the modifications that you will do in the SAS will affect the external data source, vice versa. If you do any modifications there, it will affect here. If you do any modifications here, it will affect there, vice versa. But all this happens as long as the connection is existing. Suppose if the connection is not existing, then we don't have any control over the external data. Okay. So always remember one thing. When you create a library, it doesn't mean that you have copied something. If you create a library, it means you created a connection. So as the connection is existing, whatever may be the modifications that you will do in the external data source, it will affect here. And at the same time, whatever may be the modifications that you will do here will affect even the external data source, vice versa. But all this happens as long as the connection is existing. Suppose if the connection is not existing, then we don't have any control over the external data. Okay. So why we call it as a logical folder is because actual data is present on the desktop, not in the SAS. Even though it is not really existing here, still we can control it. So why we call it as a logical folder is because actual data is present in the desktop, not in the SAS. Even though it is not really existing here, still we can control it. That's why we call it as logical
Logical.
folder. And what I said, it is used to maintain the collection of SAS files or SAS members. I already showed one example. In the folder sample, we have 8 members. But after creating the library, do we have all the 8 into the SAS?
No, we
We
don't.
got only those 5, which are nothing but SAS files. And I have already showed how to create the connection between SAS and external data. Okay. Now, methods to create the library. If you want to create the library, we should follow these methods. One is functional method, another is technical. Functional means we need to work with Windows or graphical user interfaces. Technical means we need to write program or code. So whatever may be the example that we have seen till now, all that is nothing but functional. Why? Because we created the libraries using the window. But apart from that, we can do using the program. So if you want to create the program, if you want to create the library, we should follow the syntax. I said libname. Then we have to create the library reference. Libname is the keyword which is used to create the library. I want to refer the library by my desired name, library reference. Then we should give engine from which source you want to create it. Then we should provide details about the engine. Check out, I want to get the library from the Excel. We should go to its properties to copy its location. Whenever we copy the location, we can copy the location till the folder, not till the file. So we have to remember the name of the file. Name of the file is sample. As I want to create the library by the name test4, I want to create it from the Excel, and it is there on the desktop by the name sample.
Sam.
Okay. As I submitted it, check out. We know that we have 3 sheets. We got all the 3 sheets. Test file, I want to create it from the access, and the access is there on the desktop. As I submitted it, check out, we got the data from the access. This time I want to create it from the SAS itself. That's why we will not declare any engine. We will not declare any engine.
Engine.
Why? Because the SAS has to behave as an engine. As I said, submit. Check out. Not only creating, we can delete it. Earlier I deleted the library manually. I selected it and I went for delete and I confirmed for the deletion. In the similar way, we can delete it even by declaring the program. I will say test2. Check out. Right now we have a library by the name test2. I want to delete it. So I said clear. As I submitted it, check out. Right now we have test2, but as I submitted it, do we have test2?
No, we don't have.
If you want, we can delete all at a time. Underscore all underscore represents all libraries. Check out. Okay. In this way, we can create the library, we can delete the library. But in between these two methods, we have only one difference. If you create the library using the window, we have a checkbox, enable at startup. Suppose if you check it, it makes the library available for multiple SAS sessions. Nothing but permanent. That means whenever you open the SAS, along with this 4 you will have that one also. But if you won't select it, it is nothing but temporary. Okay. If you want, we can make it permanent or temporary. We can make it available for multiple SAS sessions or for a single SAS session. But when it comes to the code will always make the library available only for a single SAS session. With the program, we cannot make a library available for multiple SAS sessions. With the program, we cannot make any library available for multiple SAS sessions. That was the only difference. Now, rules for naming the library. If you want to name the library, we should follow these rules. The name should contain maximum 8 characters, and the name must begin with a character or underscore, and the name may have numbers but not at the beginning position, and the name won't accept any special characters or symbols except underscore.
Underscores.
Okay. We can declare any name for the library, we don't have any limitation, but name must be maximum 8 characters. We cannot declare a name with more than 8 characters. That too, it must start with a character or underscore. Of course, it may have numbers, those numbers should be in the middle or at the ending, but not at the beginning. And the name won't accept any special characters or symbols like space, hyphen, comma, star, any symbol except underscore. Okay. Remember that these rules are applicable on both the ways, both technical as well as functional also. So while you practice, just check whether these rules are right or wrong. Okay. So your homework is, as I created the libraries, I want you to create the libraries from different data sources like Notepad, Excel, access HTML file, PDF file, RTF file, okay, JPG, as many sources you have. Try to create the library from all of them. And once the library got created, try to modify the data in the SAS and observe how it is affecting the external data source, and at the same time modify it in the external data source and observe how it is affecting in the SAS, vice versa.
Oh,
And at the same time I gave rules for naming the library. So just check whether my given rules are right or wrong. Okay, all this is regarding libraries. But tomorrow we will begin data step programming. Okay. Any questions?
mm. Sir, what about the installation?
Check with the concerned person. I thought you already have the
I
software with
asked
you.
Raj.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have.
What they said? You're trying to say they have asked someone?
Yeah, nothing, sir. I will check with Ajay, sir.
Okay. Okay then. Catch you tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.